Welcome back to another episode of Say What Needs to Be Said. I'm your host, Asante Mr. Pick Six Samuel. Wednesday Night Vibes. Two-time Super Bowl champion. Pro Bowler, All-Pro. Record-breaking cornerback with over 50 interceptions. Yeah, that's me. That's your boy, Mr. Pick Six. Wednesday Night Vibes. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to unpack, a lot to uncover, man. It's a lot been going on, and they continue to be going on out here. How we doing? Make sure y'all hear me clearly. Let me know in the chat. We doing good. Let me know where y'all tapping in from. Wednesday Night Vibes. Like I said, we got a lot to talk about, man. A lot to discuss. And what is going on, man? How we feeling out there, man? Y'all come on in. I see you, Lockjaw Jones. How you doing? How you doing? How we feeling, baby? 100. Man, we got a double standard to talk about. We got Tom Brady and Skip Bayless to talk about, along with Shad Sanders, Dylan Gabriel. Man, we got a lot to unpack, man. We got Shannon Sharpe, Bill Belichick. Man, we're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to do our thing. Yeah, I see y'all can hear me loud and clear, man. We're going to have a good vibe on this Wednesday night. You feel me? Make sure y'all chilling. Make sure y'all have something to drink, something to snack on, man. And y'all turn up with me, man. Have a good time. But yeah, man, one thing about me, though, man, one thing about me, compared to these other podcasts and YouTube channels, man, one thing about me is I like to get right to the point. But, I got to let a few people join the chat before I get started. And, I like to warm up a little bit, get myself going before I start cooking, Sometimes you got to cook. Sometimes you got to warm up before you cook. Louisiana in the building. I love it, Louisiana. Hey, one thing about Louisiana and Lauderdale, we throw them L's up. Hey, we got something in common, baby. You know what I mean? But so, like I say, man, I like to warm up a little bit. As you can see, man, I get going a little bit, man. But I like to get right to the issues and the problematics of these topics, man, and get to cooking, man. You know what I mean? But I got to warm up, you know what I mean? I think we getting going. I think we feeling good out there, Wednesday Night Vibes, say what needs to be said. Say what needs to be said is about truth. And speaking the truth, man, that's what made me want to get on here and talk this crap, man, because I've seen a lot of people out there just spreading propaganda and being biased because of whatever reason, man. I can't be like that, man. Don't come to this channel if you don't want to hear the real and the truth, you know what I mean? But this off season, man, it feels like has been a reoccurring cycle of never-ending drama, man. And you know who it's been surrounding mainly, But it is what it is. And let me correct myself, right? Let me correct myself on my channel. If y'all haven't seen, man, I dropped a video the other day, and I was talking about Shad Sanders, whether or not he should challenge the NCAA rules, right, to go back to college. And I said he was a junior, right? That was the part I was incorrect about. That was the only thing I was incorrect about. I said he was a junior, and he is a senior. He's a 4-year senior, and because of, the vid and stuff like that, he has another year eligibility if he had chose to take it, you know what I mean? So y'all go check out that video after this live and let me know what y'all think, you know what I mean? Should Shedeur try to return to college and make his circumstances better on the field, because he's going to make less than $500,000 on the signing bonus this year, and last year he had a $4 million NIL evaluation, and he can challenge those rules, the NCAA eligibility rules. So y'all let me know, man. Y'all check that video out, man. I think it's very insightful. And, let's have some fun. All right, man. Tom Brady and Skip Bayless. If you haven't heard, man, you've seen Skip Bayless is throwing strays at Tom, talking about Tom Brady was the reason Shedeur Sanders' stock had dropped or tanked. You know what I mean? And now, of course, Tom Brady didn't say that. And Tom Brady is furious at Skip Bayless for announcing on Twitter he influenced the Raiders not to select Shedeur Sanders or had anything to do with sabotaging Shedeur Sanders' draft stock. The greatest quarterback ever out here catching strays from a guy that is damn near 80 years old named Skip Bayless, who never been a part of football. Can you imagine that? What is this world coming to? This man won't give it up, man. This man, he will not give it up. He is trying his hardest to bring attention to himself and stay relevant. If y'all don't know, he's an independent media personality like myself now. We all out here in these streets, independent, but he won't give it up. And I think it's fair to say Y'all let me know if y'all disagree with me. I think it's fair to say that people are starting to realize what happened in the draft that Shedeur Sanders, he brought on himself. You know, as much as we like Shedeur and support him, I think people are starting to realize that the Sanders family brought all this backlash upon themselves. And I don't know if y'all realize and understand, Skip is a Deion Sanders lover. Skip Bayless loves Deion Sanders. He is so infatuated with Deion Sanders and the thought of being able to talk and deal with Deion Sanders, man, he would do anything, damn near anything to please Deion Sanders. You know what I mean? So let's get into it. Tom Brady claps back at Skip Bayless. Controversial claims about Shedeur Sanders draft slide. Right? Here we go. This is who he is. That's the guy right there. This is what Tom Brady had to say through, a second party, third party. Tom Brady thinks Skip Bayless is an idiot for thinking he had anything to do with Shedeur's downfall in the NFL draft. An insider told Daily Mail in a report, Tom has limited say in what players the Raiders pick in the NFL draft or whomever they sign. Pete Carroll, head coach, and Mark Davis, owner, have the final say on everything with the team. Will they talk to Tom for advice? Absolutely. But Tom has no sway on getting Shedeur or staying away from him. You know what I mean? That's Tom Brady. Now that Tom is in the media himself and has had to deal with Skip forever, it is just another ridiculous accusation that Tom isn't going to give any life to for Skip's benefit. It's just stupid. Now, that was what Tom's response was, right? And this is what Skip Bayless had to say. Get out of here. So, if you don't remember, man, Skip Bayless said it loud and clear. You know what he was talking about Tom. He said, this man said, this is what Skip Bayless said. Let me get out of this. So, right, this is what Skip said. Skip said, it is now loud and clear that Tom Brady told the Raiders not to select or take Shedeur Sanders. And he said, duly noted. He tweeted that, if y'all don't remember. I put that up and we talked about that in the last live, you know what I mean? And you see Skip, right, when he talked about it, he threw the word not in there in all caps. And I can't find it. I don't know what I did with it. Excuse me, y'all. Excuse me, I'm all over the place. Sorry, y'all. But yeah, he threw the word not in there in all caps. Like he really believed what he was saying. And everyone should believe in him. He said, Tom Brady told the Raiders not to draft Shedeur Sanders in all caps. And then he put duly noted, and he wants his audience to believe that he is credible. And it's ridiculous. Just imagine being Skip at home on draft day, right? Skip is at home on draft day, enjoying himself, sitting at home on his couch with his wife and his dog, sitting there waiting to think of something to say about the draft so he can have some type of impact and garner some engagement. So he just sitting there and he thought of this bright idea, right? He thought of a bright idea. Tom Brady and Shedeur Sanders, what is the connection? Um, and he thought it was a bright idea to connect Tom Brady to Shedeur Sanders, which was crazy. But the crazy thing is about Skip Bayless, man, is he had the media world in his hands. He had everything in his hands. He's an aspiring coach. Like I said, he wanted to have something to do with football. The owners thought he was a joke. So the best thing he could do to be a part of football was be in the media, right? And then he had the best thing going. Skip had the best thing going with Shannon Sharpe, and he found a way to screw that up, right? Now during this draft, Skip sees one of his good friends. He sees one of his good friends' child is having a hard time in this draft, right? And we know who that is, right? Like I said, Deion is someone Skip would consider his good friend, probably his best friend. You let Deion tell it. He will do anything he can possibly do to help Deion or make Deion feel better. And Deion is Skip Bayless, one of Skip Bayless' top 5 friends in his mind, probably in this order, right? This is how crazy Skip Bayless is. In this order, Skip Bayless' best friends in this order, his top 5 is probably Jerry Jones, number 1. Then you got Deion Sanders, number 2. Then he probably has Michael Irvin, number 3. That's his top 3 right there. I know Shannon Sharpe probably used to be in his top 5 in the past, and then he had Lil Wayne. There goes the top 5. You know what I mean? But we know damn well Deion don't give a goddamn one cent. He don't give a 1 cent about Skip Bayless, despite what Skip may think or how he may feel. So Skip is going to do whatever he can. He's going to do whatever he can, right, to help the Sanders family or to come to the defense of Shedeur Sanders. You know what I mean? And like I said, since this is where it all comes down and boils down to, since Brady trained and mentored Shedeur, since Brady trained and mentored Shedeur, Skip thought it would be a great idea to throw Brady under the bus so Deion can see Skip is willing to do whatever it takes to help him make sense of the situation, or to, to control the narrative with the media. That's what it's all about with these, celebrities and people with big following. They want to control the narrative with the media. So Skip, he's going to do whatever he can. But the scenario fits perfectly, so Skip ran with it. That was, that's the connection. The scenario fits perfect, so Skip ran with it. Maybe Skip was hoping to get into a media fight with Brady, but like you said, Brady is not going to give that Skip Bayless no attention. Skip Bayless, he don't. Brady ain't on that. You know what I mean? But Skip was damn sure trying to make a media fight. Because he's independent. You know what I mean? But like I say, welcome to Say What Needs to Be Said. How we, these independent hustlers over here. You know what I mean? Get real spooky on this side. But Skip, Skip always had high praises for Tom Brady. He did. And this is kind of weird, this is kind of weird because Skip always had high praises for Tom Brady, and he spoke highly of him. And this one doesn't really make sense, but it shows Skip puts Deion Sanders ahead of everyone on his favorite person list. You know what I mean? That shows that he will ride or die for Deion Sanders. If you're taking shots at one of the greatest quarterback ever, who everybody loves, you know what I mean? And you will ride or die for the Sanders family. And only if Brady would talk shit back the way he compete, man, I would love to see Brady, man, cut Skip out and tell him about himself. Man, that would be phenomenal, man. That would be phenomenal. Clap it up if Brady ever do that, man. You know what I mean? But, hey, we'll see, man. But Brady, man, Brady isn't going to give him the time of the day, man. And he ain't going to go back and forth with dude, man, especially dude that's 80 years old like he is, or close to 80. But Brady did speak to someone. And y'all preferenced this already, you know what I mean? Brady did speak to someone. He did speak to someone about the incident. And like I said, he let them know Skip is an idiot. He told Michael Strahan, Skip is an idiot. Let me read it again for you. This is where it starts. Tom thinks Skip Bayless is an idiot for thinking he had anything to do with Shedeur Sanders' downfall in the NFL draft, right? That's where it starts at. And then, the conversation continues. And then Tom ends up watching the Super Bowl with Michael Strahan, and they had a conversation, right? They had a conversation about Skip Bayless, and then, of course, Tom Brady doesn't want to come out and speak. Of course, Tom Brady doesn't want to come out and speak about the situation and give it any life like Skip Bayless hoped. So he spoke to Michael Strahan, and Michael Strahan told everyone or told the media what Tom Brady had to say. And here it is, Michael Strahan says, I spent time with Tom Brady this past weekend, and we watched the draft. And as Tom said, he's an example. He doesn't matter when you're picked. He says, it doesn't matter when you're picked, Strahan revealed. Brady himself was taken in the 6th round of the 2000 NFL draft, Strahan added. I don't think the kid should have dropped to the 5th round. And I hate when you have unnamed sources. If you're going to say something that bad to disparage a kid, put your name on it first of all, right? The Fox and the analyst was seemingly referring to an anonymous report that Sanders was entitled and reportedly had negative interviews with the team, with the two teams in the lead up to the draft, right? So that's what Tom Brady had to say. Something real light. Give it to him. He ain't give it to him all the way raw. Gave it to him, real light, And you'll very rarely see Tom Brady engage in any controversy, man. He'd rather find something good to say than rather criticize somebody. That's who Tom Brady is. And I'm not saying Brady won't give his true opinion on Shedeur Sanders, whether or not to draft him. I'm sure he will. But if Brady was asked, what does he think about Shedeur, his response probably would be, great guy, like he said, hard worker, throws the ball nice, but I see other quarterbacks in the draft who can be a better asset to this team. Something like that, something to that nature, if he doesn't feel that way about Shedeur Sanders. And if he doesn't, that's fine. There's no problem. There's no big deal. But, that's how things go. And I think the story was fitting. And that's why Skip took that avenue to exploit this narrative and interject himself. You know what I mean? That's the real truth of it. That's the real absolute truth of it, And yeah. And the last thing Brady had to say was, he said, economically, Brady says economically, this may have hurt Shedeur Sanders, but opportunity-wise, it didn't. He continued, because he's on a team where I think he has a good shot at making a difference. And I think the kid is going to be a great player. I think the Browns did a good thing, and I think they're going to enjoy it. That's typical Tom Brady, That's the type of energy that Tom Brady brings to the table when he's speaking on people and stuff like that, And then here goes the other situation that I feel bad about, right? I feel totally bad about. This is me. I feel bad about this, right? We've been sleeping, man. We have been sleeping. We, me, you, I, them, everybody. And I know it's a few people in the chat, and it's going to be a few people around the world that have been coming to Dylan Gabriel's defense, but we've been sleeping on Dylan Gabriel. Y'all let me know, man. Y'all hit the like button. Y'all, like I say, it's for free. Y'all hit the like button. Don't make me get aggressive on this mic. It's for free. It's free. Hit that like button. But y'all let me know if y'all been sleep on Dylan Gabriel, because I have been sleep on him, and I never gave Dylan Gabriel any recognition or the recognition he deserves. I need to give him his just due. And, he's a young man out here trying to achieve his dream just like anyone else. And he shouldn't be, like I say, catching strays because, we are in support of one individual so high and mighty, you know what I mean? So we've been caught up in the Shedeur Sanders and whatever Shedeur Sanders got going on, and forgot to show the young man some love, And but before we show him some love, we're gonna check this out. and see that that's Shedeur Sanders at the draft. I wanted to show y'all this and make sure we understand the two type of individuals we're dealing with. And Deion Sanders Jr. did confirm on Twitter that this was $1 million right here. Like I said, this is $1 million. Yeah, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna get back. I'm gonna digress a little bit, and I'm gonna get back to Dillon Gabriel. You know, and we all assume, you know, that where this influence is coming from. We all assume this influence where it is coming from, and it's coming from the family, the dad, Coach Prime, you know, advising him. Maybe want him to replicate his dad, or he wants to replicate his dad. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, going back to this draft before we get to Dillon Gabriel, you know, understand that Deion Sanders overplayed his hand in this draft process, thinking the scouts were super high on Shedeur as a top 5 draft pick, just like all the mock drafts and the media outlets suggested. I thought he was a top 5 draft pick. I'm sure all of us thought he was a top 5, top 10 draft pick. You know what I mean? And I hope those scouts, you know, this is most important because if you play football, you deal with scouts personally. You have personal relationships with scouts and coaches and GMs and things like that. But I hope those scouts wasn't really lying and telling Deion whatever he wanted to hear, telling him his son was a top 5 draft pick and will be a top 5 draft pick. You know? Y'all let me know if y'all think that what was going on. Because like I said, Deion really overplayed his hand. He was shooting for the sky and you know, and had an average asset going on, you know. And like I said, we can see Deion was acting like he had all the leverage. Deion was acting like he had all the leverage. He could choose what team his son can go to. He can talk crap about teams and so on and so forth. And we all know that Deion screwed this up very bad, man. He screwed this up very bad. Honestly, y'all, I'm telling y'all, honestly, in the NFL draft, it is very easy for a team to draft a player in the second round and not think twice about it. So for Shedeur to slip to the 5th round, that is crazy. And my thing is why I was going off on Dillon Gabriel, because I was like, Dillon Gabriel went before him. It's very simple for a team to draft someone in the second round. Like I said, not think twice about it. The 3rd round that's even simpler, you know? And you know, so that was my issue with Dillon Gabriel. He was catching those strays, but he's a UCF alumni, you know, shot UCF alumni and stuff like that. And he's a good player, you know. But like I say, man, Shedeur could have easily been a 2nd round draft pick. Just making someone like you more and presenting yourself better, you know what I mean? But that has to come from one of the main coaches really liking you, you know, as an athlete, as a person. And Shedeur never gave a chance to be a likable person during interviews. That's what this all is all about, man. Shedeur never gave himself the chance to be a likable person during interviews. And that's too bad. You know, the Sanders family made Shedeur feel entitled and not likable to coaches and general managers. You know, like I said, he could have easily been a 2nd round pick. Might not have been a 1st round pick, but he definitely could have been a 2nd round pick, you know? But Dillon Gabriel, man, UCF night, he went to UCF, he went to Oklahoma, he went to Oregon, he been around, you know, he's a vet in college. He's been around, he plays a 6-year senior, his 6 years experience in college, you know? And Dillon Gabriel, like I said, who Dillon Gabriel is, he is now Shedeur Sanders' teammate and his competition. And Dillon Gabriel, let me tell you, he's a very accurate passer. He has the same kind of story as Shedeur Sanders, like I said, bouncing around school to school and in his career with career highs, passing, completions, touchdowns, things like that. Maybe not touchdowns, but you know what I'm saying. And the one thing, and this is very important, y'all understand, man. Chat, y'all make sure y'all hit the like button. Y'all make sure y'all let everybody know Asante Samuel's on live, and we got a lot to discuss tonight, man. How y'all doing out there? I'm warming up. I'm just warming up, and we only been 25 minutes in, baby. I'm just warming up. And the one thing, understand what I'm saying. The one thing about all these quarterbacks in the draft ahead of Shedeur Sanders that makes them better or teams more attracted to them is they run the offense how it is supposed to be ran, throwing the ball in rhythm and timing. That is the one thing that separates these other quarterbacks from Shedeur Sanders. It's very simple. Just do what you're supposed to do. Run the offense how it's supposed to be run. And mentally, that's an easy fix, unless you've been caught up in something for so long. Not holding the ball too long and trying to do more than the play is designed to do. That's what you don't like. When I play, I used to play basketball, man. Basketball was my first love, and basketball is relatable to a quarterback because a quarterback always has the ball in the hand as well as basketball. When you're trying to score, you have the ball in your hand, right? And instead of running the play like coach designed everything to do, I would always try to do more than I was supposed to do. And I found out the hard way that that's not what you're supposed to. That's not how you win games and be efficient in anything you do, So there's a plan. Coach has a plan. You follow the plan and you execute, and that's how it should be. But that's the difference. And that was the one knock on Shedeur, not being efficient football player with the football in his hand. Now the Oregon Ducks offense, it's known to be being ran off efficiency. So Dylan Gabriel has the upper hand in that department on Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur had the chance when Tim Lewis was there before they hired Pat Schumer, but Shedeur complained about him, and Coach Prime did what he wanted to do as a dad and got rid of him and hired the new coach with him. Tim Lewis was trying to teach him, you got to throw the ball on time. You know what I mean? But let's check these stats out and see what we got here, right? Now, as y'all can see down here, this is Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. This is their career stats in college. They are very, very similar, as you can see, very, very similar. But let's go down. Let's look at the 2024 year, all the way at the bottom, right? As you can see, look at that, attempts. We'll go over to attempts. I don't know if y'all can see my arrow, but you go over here to attempts, and boom, both of them 447 attempts, right? Completions, it's off by 20 or whatever. Now then you go to completions, 74% for Shedeur Sanders, 72.9% for Dylan Gabriel. Not too bad, very close in stats right there. And then you keep going down, touchdowns, 37 for Shedeur, 30 for Dylan Gabriel. And here's the most important stat. If you come all the way down to the end, not the second to the last, where it says sacks. This is the very most important stat right here. This is what I mean when I talk about being efficient and efficiency. If you can see right here, 2024, Shedeur Sanders has 42 sacks, and 2024, Dylan Gabriel has 21. And if you take it down one more year, 2023, Shedeur Sanders has 52 sacks. Dylan Gabriel has 17 sacks. Let me tell you, one thing is for sure, two things is for certain. You cannot take no sacks as a quarterback. That will be the biggest turnoff to any offensive coordinator in any level, high school, college, NFL. If you're taking 50 plus sacks a year, that is destroying the offense. So that's what you see if you're a scout and you're watching the film and you see him taking all these scouts and running extra plays and things like that. You see that if the offense isn't going to be ran efficient as it's supposed to be ran, you know what I mean? And that's just the truth of the matter. But I can tell you one thing. Right? For Shedeur. It would be a very humbling experience for him walking in that facility and being third or fourth on the depth chart. Something he's not used to dealing with. I'm telling you, it's going to be a very humbling experience, man. Chat, y'all talk to me, man. He say, Deron T say, I get to the chat, man. Y'all let me know. Make sure I don't miss none of the important chats, man. But yeah, that's gonna be a very humbling experience for Shedeur Sanders walking into the facility and everyone not praising you and catering to your need. And now you're last, close to last on the depth chart. Only dogs can come up out of that, you know? You have to be a dog to understand it and wheel your way up out of that. But I do know Dylan Gabriel will be ready no matter where he is placed on the depth chart. Like I said, he is used to these circumstances. You know, Dylan Gabriel, like I said, has been in college for 6 years. He has 6 years of college experience from 3 different schools, 3 or 4. Um, it was never easy for him. He was challenged everywhere he went. He had to win his job at Oklahoma. He had to win his job at UCF. He had to win his job at Oregon. And yeah, so they both dealt with adversity in college, right? They both dealt with a lot of adversity, and you want to see that in your quarterback before you draft them. You don't want anybody that, of course, that has dealt with some major adversity, because then when adversity comes, how do they handle that? You know. But Shedeur, man, at this time, like I say, he is still enjoying the moment of being drafted. But when that day comes, when he is hit with that reality of not being the guy anymore, and he has to compete to be the guy, that's going to hit different. But it will be interesting to see how he responds to being the third or fourth guy on the depth chart. You know, I expect to see Shedeur come out as a dog and fight. And this is the time to see if he's a dog and he has that dog in him, you know? My thing is I just like to see people compete. I love competition, man. I love it, you know? And the other thing about Shedeur Sanders that we see is crazy is, you know, his name, image, and likeness, man. I sure hope this isn't a ploy for the NFL to use Shedeur fame, man, and his likeness, man, to bring more attention to the NFL, right? And then end up making a mockery out of the young man. Shedeur name and the support that comes along with that name garners a lot of attention. And that is a valuable asset to the NFL. Don't think these owners aren't thinking about the business part of the Sanders family and things like that, good and bad. And at this moment, at the time of this recording, Shedeur Sanders has the #1 jersey rookie sales at this time, you know, in the NFL. He has the #1 jersey in rookie sales. So, you know, that says a lot. And then on the second day of the draft, the first day, I think it was about 14 million viewers watching the draft. And then the second day of the draft, it was up 48% from last year. And we know what it had to do with Shedeur Sanders. So his name ran weight. And it's gonna be interesting. And imagine this: if Shedeur can sell out stadiums, everyone is coming to see Shedeur Sanders play or sit on the sideline and bring more attention to the Browns. They may be forced to keep him around, man. That's some real stuff. They may be forced to keep him around. That's real. So, man, that's enough for Shedeur Sanders, man. How y'all doing in the chat? Let me look at the chat. How y'all feel about Dylan Gabriel, man? Only thing I don't like about Dylan Gabriel, I think his arm is a little weak. I don't think it's that strong, you know? I don't think Dylan Gabriel's arm is as strong as it should be, but he does get the ball out in time and efficient, you know. So switching gears, how we doing, chat, man? How y'all doing? Y'all let me know y'all got any questions, anything, man. We're going to get to a Q&A at the end of this live, man. So Shannon Sharpe versus Bill Belichick. Are we living in a double standard, man? Is one situation okay and the other one not? And, you know, let's get into it, man. We got Bill Belichick in the situation, you know. How do y'all feel about that, Bill Belichick? We have another person who has fell victim to this dangerous STF, these STF symptoms, you know? Now, this is dangerous. That shit is dangerous. That STF, man, is very dangerous. And this could be the downfall of most men, man. STF has been the downfall of most men. That damn STF. Y'all don't know in the chat what STF is? Yes, sir. That STF is sexually transmitted feelings. Yeah, that's right. Coach Belichick, along with Shannon Sharpe, Uncle Shay has been hit with that STF, and they are caught all the way up. And we have been very critical, man, of old granddaddy Shannon Sharpe, mainly because of the details have been exposed to the public, in the claims that are brought against him, right? That's why we've been critical of old Shannon Sharpe. But I've seen people say all type of stuff. Like, I lost all respect for Shannon Sharpe because he's dating a much younger woman. I would never date a girl that young. I only date a woman 30 years or better. I've seen all type of people judge and have their things to say and what they say and how, everybody views it and see that situation. But my question is, does Belichick get a pass? Does Belichick get a pass, y'all? Look at this. Look at this picture right here. Look at this. Does Belichick get a pass? Talk to me. Now, the gap between Bill Belichick relationship and Shannon Sharpe relationship is what? Damn, 15-year difference or something like that. I think Belichick's like 48 years and Shannon Sharpe's on what, like 30 something. Like the difference in between the age gaps in their relationships is probably like a 15-year difference, And I don't think hey, y'all out here in the chat, make sure y'all understand this too. If y'all get older and feel freaky and want to, date these younger women and stuff like that, I don't think older men realize younger women 9 times out of 10 are only interested in them and what they can get from them. Let me say that again. A woman 9 times out of 10 is not interested in an older guy. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is. 9 times out of 10, a younger woman is not that interested in an older guy. Make sure I'm saying that right, man. At that age, if there's a 20-year gap, 30-year gap, that young lady is there. She's only there plotting and scheming to figure out how to get to the bag. As we can see, they talking about this young lady right here has a $8 million portfolio since she met Belichick. That's what they're saying. Older men with money don't like older women. You know what I mean? Older men with money don't like older women. That's the common thing that's going on around here. You very rarely see a older man with money around here, flaunting his relationship like an older man does when they're with a younger woman. It's just, I don't know, it's something about maybe the younger woman gives the older man that joy or more joy, and people are starting to speculate. This is what this is all about. People are starting to wonder and speculate. How did Belichick and his girlfriend met? Right? Now let's check out this article. As Bill Belichick prepares for his first season at North Carolina, there are reportedly concerns about his girlfriend's influence over him during that STF that I told y'all about. Everybody can see it. They're worried about the influence she has over him. During an interview with Tony, I ain't gonna say that last name, of CBS Morning, there was a handful of awkward moments, including one in which Belichick's girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, shut down a question about how they met by saying, "We're not talking about this." That's right. Said, "We're not talking about this." According to TMZ, moments like this, which occurred during the interview on Sunday, aren't sitting well with North Carolina. And there's a growing sense this could become a problem. You goddamn right that's going to become a problem. You know what I mean? You goddamn right. Y'all ever see the writing on the wall? Now think about this, right? Think about this. How does a 72-year-old man meet a 24-year-old woman, chat? How does a 72-year-old man meet a 24-year-old woman? Every time that question comes up, she comes in She comes in and shut it down. We're not talking about that. Before Belichick get a word out, we're not talking about that. What's the problem? And like I said, how does a 72-year-old man meet a 24-year-old woman? And there are only two places I could think of, chat. And that's online or at a gentleman's club. And the majority are assuming it's on an app that, let's just say, Belichick shouldn't be on, you know. That's Bill Belichick. That's my guy. Especially as the head coach of North Carolina, man. He is supposed to be setting the best example for young men, you know. But one thing about social media, man, social media detectives will find out everything about Belichick's new girlfriend, past, her present, and her future. You know, them social media detectives, they ain't playing, you know. If she is hiding something, and I think it's going to be, you know, something she's going to try to keep a secret forever. But if she's hiding something, they're definitely going to find it, you know. But everybody's suspicious because every time that question comes up about how they met, she is quick to cut the interview short and say we're not talking about it, right? And I think they are hiding something. What it is, we don't know. I just hope it ain't crazy, you know? But one thing about Belichick, let me tell you, one thing about Belichick, he can hide, boy, he can hide anything. And if you know Belichick, like I know Belichick personally, he will take secrets to the grave. That man ain't telling nothing. You hear me? That man ain't telling nothing. He would be the best CEO to have, you know, the best CEO defendant if you wanted to go on a lick or something or commit a crime and you was worried about somebody snitching on you. Belichick ain't saying nothing. Belichick, boy, I done seen this man be quiet a lot of times after a Super Bowl victory. And you best believe he not talking, you know. But she can't hide her secrets for too long, man. Something will come out as they are starting to matriculate a little bit. You know, something will come out. But what is she hiding? What can be so bad? You know, 24-year-old, 72-year-old man, how did we meet? And, you know, I'm hearing rumors that maybe it was retired escort, something in that field, something like that. You coaching at the University of North Carolina, Chapel. That's a very prestigious school right there, prestigious school right there. So, you know, you got to be held to the highest level of standards when you coaching at that school, you know, but something definitely fishy is going on. Belichick is, and the other funny thing about it was everybody's getting worried around there because, like they said in the article, Belichick surrendered all his personal duties to this girlfriend. And we see that she is very loud and don't have a problem speaking up, you know? And oh me, man. Oh my gosh, I forgot. I'm sorry, y'all. I forgot, man. I let Shannon ride a little bit, but I forgot to snap on him again, man. You ain't got one person you need to apologize to. You got two people you need to apologize to. Man, I forgot to tell Shannon Sharpe, man, he owes Stephen A. Smith an apology along with Ocho Cinco. Now we could turn up a little bit. Yeah, Ocho Cinco and Stephen A. Smith. Man, Shannon Sharpe, boy, you are digging a hole for yourself. And what just the other day you recording on your nightcap and you all aggressive on the camera screaming at, shit the fuck you screaming at people? Man, whatever you taking, whatever you're doing out here, whatever food you're eating, you need to change your diet, brother. You too aggressive, you too loud, and you think you just too better than everybody. Calm yourself down. Your freaking money don't make you no matter of a man. You could still be a sucker ass, duck ass nigga, you know what I mean? Calm yourself down, bro. But yeah, you owe Ocho, now you owe Stephen A. Smith an apology. This man, Stephen A. Smith, hired you, Shannon Sharpe, at one of your most vulnerable moments to be his co-host on this show. And what does Shannon Sharpe do in return? Make a hot mess out of this situation. Leaving crumbs everywhere. Everywhere he sat at, he leaving crumbs. People can't even do you a favor, Shannon Sharpe. People can't even come to your defense. A black man out here in this social media, in this media world trying to thrive, and everyone is feeling sorry for you when Skip Bayless is belittling you on your show, making you feel like a fool. And you around here creating hot messes for everybody. You recruit Ocho Cinco to come over here, and Ocho Cinco looking for opportunities. He down with Eve. He come in and be a part of the situation. And just for you to can't control your issues in life, man. You can't control your demons, homie. You need to apologize publicly. You need to apologize publicly to both of them immediately. I ain't no secret phone call. I know Ocho don't want it, you know what I mean? And I ain't, but this is about Stephen A. Smith, man. And like I said, I told y'all about the sponsors abandoning ship over there in the nightcap and things like that because of Shannon Sharpe fucking freaking craziness. But as you can imagine, not only that, this is what's going on. This is exactly what's going on. And of course, y'all could have imagined this already. We could have imagined that now this $100 million media deal for Shay Shay Media that he was bragging about will never see ink to paper. You know what I mean? And the article reads, right? The podcast deals are off the table, said the source. Shannon's reputation has ruined everything. Repeat that. Shannon's reputation has ruined everything. That ain't just this one incident. Don't think people are going off the meters because of this one incident. We heard there's 10 years of stories and things like that, But he's ruined everything. Getting all that money is no longer a reality. The insider added that, I'm supposed to say revelations. The insider added that revelations of Sharpe's relationship with a much younger woman has likely turned off any remaining potential investors. Imagine that. We got to do better, man. We got to do better. From the U.S. Sun, then it continues. It says, I can't see anyone wanting to work with him now. The source continues, especially women. I can't see anyone wanting to work with him now, especially women. The U.S. Sun understands Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl champion Jason Kelce is one of the front runners to replace Sharpe on First Take as the controversy continues. He's a name on everyone's lips, a source at the network said. Sharpe is facing allegations from an unnamed woman following the end of their relationship in 2024, and y'all know the story. We know how that go. We know the story. This fool around here tearing up everything. And you got to understand, man, when you have this type of platform and people ready to put that money up for you, hundreds of millions of dollars, and not just an athlete as an NBA player and NBA because that's kind of slotted and what is expected, got rules and NFLPA and things like that. But when you independent out here in the real world and you have somebody willing to put up that money for you, you have to act accordingly. You have to act accordingly. You have to conduct yourself in a manner appropriate for anyone doing business with you that they can feel great about this person. And that's why, when we go to the NFL combine and things like that, and we go to the combine and stuff, the first thing they ask us, what is our relationship status? Are we married and things like that? Because if you're not married, they're going to assume you're going to be out there living your best life, trying to explore the world, getting into things that married people or people that settle down wouldn't, And that's just the way it is. Something you have to give. You can't be out here acting the way you want. And that's just the way it is. And like I said, man, think about it. It says Shannon Sharpe has everybody uncomfortable. Think about it. And the women, if we got any women in the chat, man, I just looked up and I see LW say that Cat Williams interview. Man, that Cat Williams interview, man, he went off, man. That thing was doing numbers, and Cat Williams was exposing everyone, and everyone blamed Shannon Sharpe for that. Man, the powers to be, when you are working for the powers to be and you're expecting powers to be to give you that check, you have to act accordingly. You out here calling out the old university, the whole universe. Only say what needs to be said can do that, because I'm gonna stay in my lane. And if I get out my lane, it's still gonna be my lane, because they gonna know something ain't changing. And I got my shit together. Hey, got my family. I ain't get caught up in that crazy. Anybody can get caught up, but just let you know what I mean? But think about this, man. Think about this, man. If any women out there, man, think about this, right? Think about this. Being a woman that have to sit next to Shannon Sharpe every day, or having a back and forth with him, and having to deal with him or his superior complex. Being a woman, having to go back and forth with Shannon Sharpe every day, dealing with him and his superior complex, right? A woman. I can see how a woman could be creeped out in an environment with Shannon Sharpe, man. I can definitely see how a woman will feel like disgusted, like insecure in all type of ways, because he's gonna, yeah, man. But yeah, I can see how women definitely could be creeped out for him, man. He's definitely gonna always flex his dominant ways, especially on women, I can see that. But for that check, don't get it twisted, man. For that check, outside of work, women don't give a damn, man. As long as Shannon Sharpe, granddaddy spending 25 per cheek, man, everything is good. Everything is good until it's bad. Everything is always good until it's bad. But yeah, man, I can see, man, that you are just destroying business, Shannon Sharpe. You got women creeped out because of all these accusations and how you act and things like that. But you are just tripped out, man. This man is tripped out. Yeah, man. Getting a little ahead of myself, man. But yeah, man, that's old Shannon Sharpe and Shannon Sharpe, old Stephen A. Smith. Y'all make sure y'all tag Shannon Sharpe and let him know, man. Not only does he owe Ocho Cinco an apology, a public apology at that, he owes Stephen A. Smith one as well, man. Yeah, Shannon Sharpe, he has screwed up a lot, man. But switching gears a little bit, right? Switching gears, how we doing, chat? Bruce Lee, what they do? That 25 per cheek was going to be an expensive BBL, boy. I don't know if it was going to even be a BBL, but he was getting pimped. That's what that sounded like to me, man. He was getting played and slayed, man. He ain't, I'm too old to realize how the game go and how the game supposed to be played nowadays out here, you know what I mean? But let's get into some other topics, and one other topic right here, night. How y'all doing Wednesday night vibes, And let's talk about, man, we're going to talk about LeBron James. We switching things up, man. Yeah, we got to hit them 10,000 followers, Marlon. Let them know, man. Appreciate you. This month, y'all let them know, Marlon said we got to get you to 10,000 followers next month. By next month, then right after that, we shooting to 20, man. We going up, man. We grinding, and we putting out that content, that good content, man. And like we say, man, Shannon, we ain't on Shannon. We on LeBron James, man. We switching it up, and we got to talk about LeBron James because I don't know. We have to see. LeBron had a lot to say. And we all know when it came to when Stephen A. Smith pulled up to the Lakers game and sat courtside, he had a lot to say to Stephen A. Smith. But that same energy LeBron gave to Stephen A. Smith doesn't seem like it applies to everyone, right? Does it apply to everyone? Nope. Y'all let me know if y'all know where I'm getting at, chat. It say, hey, LeBron seen Stephen A at the game, man. He couldn't wait to pull up on Stephen A on courtside, man, sitting courtside and go give him a mouthful and let them know, like, nigga, don't play with me. Now, when they say folks pick their battles and be putting on the front, man, I think this is the case with LeBron James. I think this is the case with LeBron James. If you remember, LeBron James stepped to Stephen A. Smith on live television to confront him about Bronny James and what he said, right? And we getting to something. And we could all see LeBron James' body language, that he wasn't happy and he was giving Stephen A. Smith a mouthful and letting him know, boy, don't you talk about my family and my kid like that. And I know all the women in the chat like, yeah, that's right. We got some women out there in the chat. I know they're like, yeah, that's right. Defend your family, King James. Don't let nobody disrespect your family. But how do you women feel when your man looks the other way when it's a gangster being disrespectful? Right? And this is what Kevin Gates had to say about LeBron James. This is what started everything. He said, I don't like the way Savannah look at LeBron. Kevin said on April 19th on Instagram, emphasizing that because of Savannah, he wouldn't want to trade places with the basketball legend if given the chance. I like the way them white women look at LeBron. As soon as he walked out there, they just be like, oh, oh, oh. The D-Down rapper even went on to describe Savannah as the warden of the jail while he described LeBron's spirit. Crazy, right? That's crazy, right? Now, this is what Kevin Gates had to say about the man and his queen. Wow. Now, my question is, should LeBron James have the same energy for Kevin Gates that he had for Stephen A. Smith? Should these rules apply to everyone? Kevin Gates hit LeBron James with that bazooka disrespect right there just now. You know what I mean? But does these same rules apply for everyone? That's the question. Right? Because Kevin Gates pulled up. He pulled right up. And it was no pressure. And I hope y'all familiar with Kevin Gates, man. If you don't know, man, Kevin Gates is a rapper and he's most popular for it. One of his most popular songs is I got two phones, one for the plug, one for the I got two. Y'all know Kevin Gates, right? Right? Y'all know that song. He's always on the blogs for saying something wild. You know, he has a different way of thinking. He lives life differently, so on and so forth. So Kevin Gates decides to pull up to LeBron game and the Lakers and sit courtside. Yeah. Yeah, he pulled right up, as you can see. And what happened? LeBron James decided to turn the other cheek when it's dealing with Kevin Gates. Let me see. Gangsters are exempt from that pressure that LeBron James brought on Stephen A. Smith. You know, one thing about Kevin Gates, the character we see and we assume, you bring that energy to Kevin Gates. Kevin Gates is ready to tear that thing up. He will tear the Lakers arena up. So King James had to think twice before he's saying, all right, this boy disrespected me way worse than Stephen A. Smith. But this boy's a gangster. I can't come over there playing because if I come over there playing, he gonna take off on me and I ain't ready for that. I'm just doing this because I got somebody that I can set an example with, you know. And then Kevin Gates had some strong words. He had some strong words. Putting that in the universe. That was a very strong words for him to put in the universe about another man's queen. And then you have opportunity, you know, to confront the person, you know. Hey, but you know, at the end of the day, LeBron clapped back. I don't know if y'all need me to show y'all that. He posted the picture with his girl, with his wife Savannah staring at him. And that's when Kevin Gates pulled up to the game and showed him, you know what I mean? And What did LeBron James do when Kevin Gates pulled up to the game? Absolutely nothing. He did absolutely nothing. He posted that picture on IG, but LeBron pulled up to the game. Uh, Kevin Gates pulled up to that game, and that reaction, he didn't have that same energy. I don't even know if he looked his way. How do y'all feel about that, ladies? How do we feel about that, fellas? Ladies and fellas, does that energy, do we pick and choose who we gonna give that energy to, Because, man, I ain't saying sacrifice everything, but man, when you say in public, I wouldn't trade places with someone because the way their wife look at them, man, it's just bad. Some things, man, I know Kevin Gates is wild boy, man. But at the end of the day, man, this is the energy that LeBron James has always had, man, on the court and off the court. And that's one of my issues about LeBron James playing basketball. I think he could be a much more dominant player if he didn't take no shit and he out there making examples out of people on the court. He too nice and soft, man. I need him to go off on somebody. 20 in 20 years, I don't think he punched somebody more than two people in the face. Went off, slapped, slammed, anything in 20 years. That's very hard to do as a basketball player. You have to be aggressive on that court. And that isn't his nature, man. And yeah, as we can see, Kevin Gates, pulled this card, pulled right up to the game, and it was no problem. It was no issue. Yeah, man. I see Anthony King right here at the bottom right here. It says, so LeBron was supposed to really fight Gates on live national television and waste Mills over Kevin Gates. Y'all can't be real. Are you kidding me? Are you married? Let me know, man. Do you have a queen? He already has millions. He's on his way out. He retired. What was he doing to Stephen A. Smith? I don't know what he was supposed to do, but whatever he did to Stephen A. Smith, he's supposed to do to Kevin Gates. That's all I'm saying, Anthony King, right? Let me know. Let me know. Next one, Y'all, hey, it's Q&A time, man. We Q&A. We having a good time right now. Y'all let me know what should have happened, chat. How did LeBron James handle that? And tomorrow, Friday, when I get back on live, we're going to talk about this one gorilla versus 100 men and how I feel about it. Say what needs to be said, got to put their 2 cents in it because this is crazy. People going left and right, left. 100 men versus a gorilla. One gorilla, and y'all telling me the gorilla gonna beat 100 men. Y'all believe that? Chat. Y'all believe that, chat? 100 men versus one gorilla. Y'all think a gorilla can beat 100 men? Talk to me. I'm trying to wait for I see something in the chat. What we talking about? He said what Kevin Gates said was stupid anyways. Man, yeah, definitely, man. What Kevin Gates said was stupid. He was looking for attention. It's all type of foolishness that be going on. People say things that makes no sense, right? And uncalled for. But hey, that's the world we live in. That's what we got to deal with, man. And yeah, man. Crazy times, man. Boxing, true serum. He can't confront everybody. Let me put this up here. I think he's trying to say, Zon, he can't confront everybody. That has something to say, bro. That has something. Oh, can't confront everybody that has something to say. You right, I get it. But all this is about is the same energy. That's what we're talking about. If you're going to give that energy to one person, and it's the same exact scenario, they're at the game, blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that. I just don't know, man. It'd be hard for me not to give that energy. I'm just speaking from me. I'll be ready to give it away and throw it all away. I ain't gonna say throw it all away, but risk it all because, man, that's hard, man. I don't know if y'all married out there or been in long-term relationships or have a family and you are that protector of that family. That's a very hard situation, And what if your wife talk to you about it? You gonna let him talk to me about like that? Did you hear what he said about us? Blah, blah, blah. If your wife bringing it up, that makes it even more worse, man. But yeah, that's crazy, man. What do y'all think about this Shannon Sharpe situation? Do you think it's over for Shannon Sharpe? Are the walls going to totally crumble in? Is he going to find a way to settle this thing, get in front of it? Because he is creating a mess, man, and he should have settled this way before it got out, man. Last one before we get out, he said, 22, you just gonna bring the goons out when you got $1 billion? If I had $1 billion, my little bro would put anything down before I fumble that bag. Right, you feel me? It's the way you handle every situation. You got to know what you're doing and how to handle the situation. You got to be smart. You got to move correctly out here. But you know, at the same time, shoot, you got to be smart and don't get tricked off the streets. That's the one thing I pride myself on out here, man. Don't get tricked off the streets, man. You get tricked off the streets. It's very easy to get tricked off the streets, and that's one of those ways. But there is ways to handle these, you know. There's ways to handle it. Tell homeboy, we can meet up somewhere. We could talk about this. You know, we can get in the ring. There are different ways to handle it. You know, I like talking with my chat, man. So shout out to my chat. Man, next time we're going to be, like I said, we're going to talk about, we got to get into this gorilla situation and all the different variables of 100 men and one gorilla. That is just funny, man. So say what needs to be said. You know, another episode, man. I'm trying to bring enough topics where we stay on here for at least 1 hour and 30 minutes, man. You know, it'd be hard, you know, but hey, we rolling. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, man. Make sure y'all share the chat. Share the live. Let everybody know how we coming over here. And like you say, man, get the 10,000 subscribers. We right there. We'll be there soon. But right after the 10, we got to go to 20. Then we got to 40. And we got to keep going up, man. And my day ones, y'all ride with me. So I see y'all next time. Love y'all to the chat.